Kelli, what was going on in your life when you decided to live in California? You left, was it Texas?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I grew up in the Panhandle of Texas, and I had, just turned 18. I had graduated high school, and USC had accepted me to their theater program. So I was this young girl with big hair and big ideas moving out from West Texas to go to the big city. And, I had grown up doing speech and theater in high school, and I knew that in some capacity I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. So when USC started to recruit me my sophomore year of high school, I was about 15. I saw that as my opportunity. I applied to a bunch of other schools, but USC was the one that I wanted to go to, and I knew it. There was no way that my mom could have afforded my education there, so I made sure that I worked really hard in school, and I graduated at the top of my class, and I got grants and scholarships, and they covered most of my tuition for the 4 years that I was there. I did have to work. I worked a 40-hour-a-week job when I was at USC, but that's how I got my start. I moved out here with less than $1,300 in my pocket and just a bunch of hopes and dreams, and years and years later, some of them are starting to come true.
And I'm sorry, you drove out here?
I drove out here.
How long did it take?
It took a couple of days. I remember having all of these CDs from the late 90s, Alanis Morissette and that kind of stuff blasting. I was a big Tori Amos fan, but that's sort of that was my road trip in music. But yeah, and I was the only person in my dorm with a car, so I made a lot of friends my freshman year.
What were you thinking about on that 2-day road trip? Of course, you were obeying the speed laws, I'm sure.
Sure, 18. Yeah, absolutely. No, I was thinking, I should have been really scared, but I was so excited. I was just so excited because I knew I was leaving this part of my life behind, and I knew. I don't think that there are many people that can be so certain about what they want to do with their lives. And that's what's kept me in this industry for as long as I have, because I've known for so long that this is what I wanted. I'm not as successful as I'd want to be right now, but I know that one day, if I keep working, it will happen. So I was thinking on that drive out there that, this is the start. This is the start of my life.
And what was the first destination? Did you actually drove to the USC campus?
No, actually, I stayed with a friend of mine in the Santa Barbara area at first, because I left before school started. I literally could not wait to get out to California. So I stayed with a friend on the West Coast for a bit, and for a good 5-6 weeks before school started, I had the first summer of freedom that I think I'd ever had in my life. I was 18. And I was just, able to go up and down the coast. I did have to go to campus a couple times. On one occasion, I was trying to figure out something with the financial aid office. And this is mortifying, but I didn't know how to parallel park a car.
Oh.
You don't need to do that in West Texas. So I was on the campus, and I was trying to park my lovely POS car. And this officer knocked on my window. And I rolled it down, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And he's like, do you want me to just do that for you?
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I was like, okay. So he parked my car for me. It was very nice of him.
Very nice. Wow.
Clearly I needed the help.
I'm sorry, forgive me, how does USC recruit people? Were you already applying to the program, or how does that work?
No, what had happened is I was doing speech and theater competitions. So Texas is like a 4A, 5A school. It's just the way the districts are broken up. So you do these competitions in speech and theater. You can do prose and poetry, you can do dramatic interpretation. It's actually called the NFL, it's the National Forensics Leagues, is part of who it's hosted by. And I remember when we were all competing in high school, we were told, Brad Pitt was in the NFL, so this was, was a big thing for us. And I remember my senior year, I went to nationals, and Josh Gad had made it into the finals. And of course, we all watched him, and it was amazing. And then, years later, he's Josh Gad. But that was my first introduction to him. So a lot of people who got their start, especially on the acting side of things, that's how they got into it. So, but the recruiters from USC, they all of the colleges kind of follow the people that track in the tournaments, and that's how my my start happened.
And then once you were up and running, you had your job, you were going to classes. How are you acclimating to the difference of Texas? Forgive me, I've only been through on via the airport, but I realize it's a different. There's Southern charm, there's manners, there's things that maybe LA doesn't have, and maybe on the opposite. How are you acclimating to that?
It was very funny. I grew up actually a left-handed vegetarian Democrat, so I kind of acclimated very quickly to the California climate. I'm no longer a vegetarian, but I fit in pretty quickly. Certainly dealing with the culture shock. When you're 18, I think it's better to do something like that when you're younger. I think you're more open to taking risks than you would be, say, if you were older. Like, I'm very glad that I made the move to go when I did, when I was 18, because had I been, in my late 20s or my 30s and established somewhere else, I might have been too afraid to let go and try something new.